right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. As we let the rest of our attendees roll in, I'll go ahead and introduce the event. We have a great session on AI today with Vadim of Viaduct Ventures. If you have any questions during the session, please go ahead and put them in our chat box and we'll get to them either during the session or at the end of the session. We'll also have a few startup pitches at the end of our event today. And if you have any questions about those as well, then feel free to ask. Hall, I'll let you take it from there.
Great, thanks, Shane. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We'll kick off here with Vadim and a discussion on AI. It's a hot topic. That's why we call this session 10 Investors Hot Topics, a new model for us. We have a little bit of content up front, and then we move to some pitches on the back end. Looking for your questions to Vadim as well as to the startup. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Vadim, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us more about yourself and your firm?
Thank you. My name is Vadim Balashov. I am the managing director at Viaduct Ventures, viaduct.vc. Probably put it up in the chat a little later during the session. We are a California-focused, Series A-focused VC. Classical VC. We make money by deploying, taking a position in a startup and growing that startup, hoping to sell that position for 10x, 20x, hopefully 25x the original investment. My partner, Stuart Gunther, is in Menlo Park, California. We have the vast majority of our portfolio is artificial intelligence based startups. We do have an allocation or an investment in the areas of business processes improvement, Internet of Things / manufacturing 4.0, manufacturing, Internet of People / surveillance, fintech, voice recognition. Always wanted to cybersecurity, AI-based cybersecurity is also in scope of our fund. We have not invested yet, but we are hoping to in the near future.
Great. So let's go and dig into the AI space, as we're going to have a couple of presenters later today that are in the AI space as well. And my first question is, what's the main trend in the AI space today? What do you see going on there?
AI is there. It has arrived, right? It's a proven technology. Or it's not even a technology, right? It's a proven class of the various technologies. It is there. So that in turn drives the following trends. At the top end, at the cutting edge of the technology in the lab, the next few years, we'll see massive development in AI, development in the sizes of problems, complexity of problems that AI can solve. So amazing results in limited lab, very high dollar applications like war robots, like self-driving cars, things like that. On the lower end of technology, on the edge where we are, I think the next few years we'll see commercialization of AI at scale, like speedy commercialization in the areas, in the business cases and in the industry verticals where AI has proven that it can work in real life environments, deployed via the cloud, work fast enough and reliably enough via the cloud and mobile devices, and help simple enough, mission critical enough, commercial enough, economical enough applications that can help specific tasks with respect to improving the lives of people and improving the efficiencies of businesses. Artificial intelligence startups are a valid investment business case for the next few years.
Great. We see many companies have a vision of expanding their service into the world of AI to continue to grow and scale and give it new technological edges. So how does one use AI to scale a company?
Well, the people have classed, or I read up on how people class the business applications of artificial intelligence, and there's a lot of, for example, Salesforce Ventures has put out a lot of Andreessen, a lot of written points and YouTube talking points on this topic, but lots of people, obviously, including professors and universities, are talking about it. In the classification that I like most is business applications around automation of business processes, those that drive efficiency or drives down the cost of business. So they're the least mission critical, the easiest one to commercialize, the least exciting, obviously. Learning and applications for better employee quality, better employee engagement, better hiring practices, and so on. So improving the quality and the cohesiveness of the employees. Then business applications to create new revenues or to create better sales or to create incremental new revenues, faster cash collection, things like that. So applications that help to grow business, those are the hot ones. And finally, brand new products, for example, computer vision for self-driving cars, like applications that are not yet commercially available or barely commercially available, but they promise a lot of good stuff for the future.
Sound like great opportunities. So what does it take for a company to actually implement AI into their product or service?
What does it take? It takes some change management, obviously, and change willingness and change management. Again, researchers are talking about a non-mission critical class of AI applications. Nobody dies if it doesn't work. And those are the ones that are the easiest to talk about and the easiest to sell. But those are not exciting ones. That scaling those applications will be very, very difficult those are the most attractive ones for the enterprise businesses, for your clients. And those are not the ones that will be very difficult to scale if you are a startup trying to sell them. And then there are applications that are a little bit more mission critical, the ones that help generate new revenues or help grow business or help, faster turnover of capital, just grow your business faster. Those are, if you're an enterprise client, your board loves those and wants you to implement them. But then your CFO and your risk management people and your safety and security people are trying to put a stop to this. So if you're a startup, it's very difficult. It's more difficult to push those applications and to sell them. But once you're in, right, scaling and multiplication will be great. Once you have a couple of flagship clients on your masthead, then it will be that much easier and that much faster to grow, to scale your startup's revenues. I have to say that 2020 and 2021 lockdowns, distance working, has destroyed lots of thresholds that seemed indestructible in 2019. One example from our portfolio company, 24/7 production, chemical companies, steel companies had a lot of difficulty and caution it deployed a lot of caution in trying to accept AI-based productivity tools and AI-based safety tools, maintenance prediction tools, safety tools. Traditionally, we've had all these people running around the plant and all of the firefighter crews sitting around the plant, playing cards, And in theory, we agree that we should replace all that with AI. But if something happens, I'll be fired. I'll go to jail. So, enterprise companies spend wasted years of startups time talking about their product and not buying. 2020 removed all that. Some of the companies actually shut down for a few months, retooled, and restarted. With some of the plants are literally dark factories. Literally, there is no light. The machines are talking to each other. If the light is on, that means people are on the premises, means something's wrong. Right? Very large plants are operated only by 1 or 2 people up in the operational control room, and firefighters are at home. Nobody's spending 24 hours only working on an emergency, and the resulting economic results or returns are amazing. If the pandemic-related distance work didn't happen, I think this process of penetration of AI into manufacturing 4.0 would have taken 5 or 6 more years. So that was a great shot in the arm.
Great. And so what do you think is the biggest mistake startups make when they go to apply AI to their business?
Enterprise clients. As an enterprise client, I think demystification of AI, right? Viewing AI as something completely new and unheard of, and some extraterrestrial robot is a mistake. And then reviewing it, letting your IT people, your in-house IT people review it, and your in-house data people review it, and your in-house financial people review it for years and years on end, that is a mistake. Artificial intelligence is an amazing IT product. It's an IT product, right? If you're an enterprise company, you have been scouting, buying, and implementing IT products for 40 years now. It's a standard process. There's nothing amazing or magical about it. The driver of the deployment, the driver of the acquisition decision, which product to acquire, should be the operating entity, the people who will be using it in their day-to-day life. If it's a manufacturing 4.0 application, it should be the operationals, the plant people. If it's a fintech application, it should be the main salespeople, main business driving people. And gatekeepers like finance, security, in-house IT, in-house data science should help and should guard from mistakes, right? The biggest mistake as an enterprise client is to let your in-house data people drive the project of buying an AI solution, right? They will end up saying, it's all terrible. It was not made here. That's why it's all terrible. We cannot use it. It's all too risky. Let's do nothing. If you are on the startup, and if you're on the selling side, if you're a startup trying to sell an AI product to enterprise, the advice is pretty much the same. Try to stay away. That is the biggest mistake over the past few years that I have seen from an AI startup standpoint, is to create an amazing data science project, work very closely with the client's in-house data scientists, and create a one-off amazing AI deployment. And then once that deployment is finished, there are no more budgets, and there are no more revenues for your startup. What an aspiring AI startup should do is, of course, productization of your AI, right? Create a platform-based commercial product, repeatable product, easy to understand, easy to buy, build it on a SaaS basis, hopefully on a per month or per year basis, deploy it, create repeatable revenues for you that will immediately start driving both your revenues, your cash flow to your company, but also the valuation of your company. And when you sell it, avoid the internal gatekeepers like data scientists and sell it directly to the people in the company that will be using it. You've probably heard the term no-code AI. That's what that term is trying to sell, right? When you sell a product to a customer, don't try to explain until the last detail how it works, right? Here's the product, here's how it works, here's the financial result that you're going to achieve. It's cheap, it's easy to implement. Let's go.
Great. So anybody in the audience have a question, please post it. We're getting near the end of ours. And my next question is, what will we see in AI innovation this year? What's coming up here that we should be looking for?
I talked a little bit already about high-end applications and lab applications. We should expect amazing new robots armed with AI or using AI at that level. As far as what we do, right, fast-growing AI companies and venture capitalists who invest in them, we should expect faster commercialization, more realistic acceptance of AI in day-to-day businesses. AI for customer experience, service, and support, especially for e-commerce and marketing campaigns, targeted marketing, smarter supply chain, stuff that has been commercializing over the past 3 years. All of these use cases will continue to be commercializing, buying, and growing in the next couple of years. Smarter supply chains, smarter operations, improvement of business processes, safety, maintenance predictability, and safety prediction of safety events or unsafe events, quality control, quality assurance, effective learning, and then, of course, industrial maintenance, financial services using of AI in financial services for narrow data analytics, for example, like credit scores, but also very, very widely like support for trading decisions. And healthcare industry is also an industry that from now on will depend on AI a lot. All of these various tools like MRI, AI is very good. It's probably going to be better than people soon in identifying, in reading and understanding, interpreting the various pictures that equipment takes of the human body.
Great. The next question is, what role will data take in AI innovation? How will data play into it?
How does data play into AI innovation?
My understanding is it takes quite a bit of data to make AI work very well, tuning and learning and so forth. And we see people gathering lots of data in order to make their AI system work. But how far do you have to go in that direction?
Well, artificial intelligence work with data. Artificial intelligence, the reason for having artificial intelligence is to work with your data. Yes, and then of course the additional business advantage of using AI in the cloud, SaaS AI in the cloud, taking your AI from a cloud provider, is that the AI is learning on everybody's data, not just your company's data, but everybody in the market, and deploys the best in-class solutions, the best options, best recommendations to your business, taking it from another business without you knowing about it. When you look at, as an investor, when I look at technical feasibility, I look at the 4 components: well-defined and desirable problems, robust algorithms, computing power, and finally, clean and well-labeled data. So yes, access to data. If you're a startup at a commercialization stage, you should already have access to data that's either clean and labeled or has the ability to be clean and labeled. Or you should have a clear plan together with your partners or with your customers, how you're going to get access to this data and how you're going to train your algorithms using to this. Yeah, AI algorithms feed on data. They eat data. The more data, the better.
Great. And so how do you grow valuation in an AI company? What are the components to make the company more valuable?
The components of the valuation are: 1, customer desirability. Is the company or the product of your company solving the problem that many people care about and can pay for? Are you targeting a pain point, and is it trying to solve a specific problem as opposed to a multitude of various problems? So I already talked about you should try to this one narrow specific problem that you pick should be either for the short term, and in that case, it should be a non-mission critical problem, or if you have a long-term view, it will be a capital intensive startup, but it should be the solution that is very, very mission critical. And so when you solve it, you will be aiming at a multi-$100-billion-dollar markets. Number 2, commercial viability, a robust business case. You should be able to explain to your customers how these customers will use your solution in their business. You cannot ask a customer, you should tell them. The market needs to be big enough, and so that affects the valuation. The bigger the market, the bigger is the valuation, the bigger is my preparedness to deploy. And the investment horizon, deeper AI tasks like computer vision for driverless helicopters is a 20-year project. Technical feasibility. When I look at projects, I look at other problems defined and desirable, clean and labeled data, algorithms, access to computing power, and access to usable data, and access to the right talent. Again, early stage startups probably don't have talent on their payroll yet, but there should be a clear path of how, once they're financed, how they're going to get the talent. And finally, financial and business metrics. Of course, the farther along you are in the main financial metrics, such as revenues, revenue growth rate, removing regulatory thresholds, your comparison with competition, the farther along you are in those metrics, the higher evaluation will be. I do recommend active users bookings. I do recommend deployment via a SaaS model because the SaaS model and SaaS revenue drives the best valuations in a startup.
Great. Those are the questions I had. Anybody in the audience or any of our presenters have any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat box now, and love to hear those. We only have a time for 1 or 2, but if you have one, go and place it in there. And my next question is, to wrap this up, is you've been working with AI for a long time now. What do you think is this thing? What would come after AI, or is AI just continue to evolve upwards, or do we see AI turning into something else in the long term?
That is a philosophical question, right? Again, two directions, right? Up there in the lab and in Lex Friedman's podcast and in Ray Kurzweil's university. It's a philosophical question, right? In theory, artificial intelligence should grow into a general artificial intelligence and become a sentient being and then crush the humans as ants. it's not necessarily how it's going to work. Nobody really knows how it's going to work, right? This debate of whether a human brain, is there a God's spark in our brain, or is it just a big computing machine? And once we build a computing machine big enough, it will replace us. It's a philosophical discussion. We don't know. As far as application of AI in real life, it's there. I think in people's minds, back in 2019, mostly the sales calls and the seminars were around the what is AI and why do you even need it in your business? I think we're beyond that. Any large business understands that this is just the next level of either using IT to grow your business or using IT to save costs for your business. And so it is also the magic or the mysticism is very quickly draining away from the AI. People understand that it will not replace people. It will provide better data analysis and better tools for people to make their decisions. And so it's becoming more and more acceptable, more and more expected for large enterprise and medium-sized businesses to just deploy. Like, the question is not, oh my God, what is it? Why should I need it? But the question is, where do I find the best products out there, and how do I implement it quickly and safely?
Great. Well, appreciate that, Vadim, for your information and what you're sharing with us today. With that, we'll go and close out the discussion here on AI, and let's move to some pitches. First up, we have with us today Todd Hardman and Kadil Maharaj of Health Connects. Todd, Kadil, if you could come up and turn your microphone on and video, and let's have your presentation come first. Anybody in the audience, if you have questions, just post them in the chat box and we'll get to them. We'll have about 8-10 minutes to pitch and then a few minutes for Q&A as well. Todd, Kadil, thanks for joining.
Hey, thank you very much. Let me pull up my screen here. Excellent. Well, Vadim, nice discussion, and thank you for sharing those insights. That's really important, and it's a vision of ours as well, which I'll explain in a little bit. Health Connects is our company. My name is Todd Hardman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Health Connects. We've been in healthcare for many years. Me particularly, I made a career out of it. The reason we're here is because there is a blazing acceleration in the healthcare industry to continually marginalize the patient communication within the patient intervention, whether it's with the provider at the time of a hospital visit or a doctor's visit, or if it's for ongoing care as part of a population management exercise. The fact of the matter is the patients don't have a lot of time to communicate what they're thinking and feeling, but yet the providers are making a lot of things happen for them without that information. The bottom line is what we do is produce patient insights at the right place right now. That's what we do, because that's missing today in the current stream of healthcare. We'll talk about that in a bit. My expertise is, again, 30 years or so in healthcare. I've been very deep into the health platforms and the new platforms of digital health, and been around them for a good part of my time. Most recently in a multi-sided network model known as SureScripts. SureScripts started as a company that wanted to change electronic prescribing into something that would be non-paper. Imagine that we were stuck to paper to do a very critical process for a patient. Not too secure, none the least, but we took a stab at it. And by whole, we actually got there because we knew how to help providers, the systems of care, understand the process of improvement. And actually it was a hard lift, but we took it from zero to about a $2 billion industry today on its own accord. The learnings that I took from SureScripts were on two-sided network models and how to create buy-side, sell-side intersections and platforms. And so that's why we're here today. So the problem that I mentioned in the beginning is that the patient has become marginalized so much, and I almost think there's something of a token in the system of care because they really don't get any time to truly communicate what's going on with them and how they're thinking and feeling. And since the early days, we went from an hour, which was sort of the benchmark of a patient visit, to today it's been compressed to 10 to 12 minutes. It's very hard to get really what's going on with the patient communicated. The real result of that is the details that are missed create mistakes and further disintegration about where care management today is trying to go to, and that is this reimbursable model and payment model known as value-based care. In order for that to get, we have to stop overspending in the market. Today, it's just silly how much money we waste, and we're talking about 20% of our economy, and we're wasting that much money on top of it. We can do better. And that is, if we look at the holistic patient, if we look at the timely and actionability of data, that matters. And Vadim, to your point, the fact is that there's a massive push in healthcare for AI, and you're so right, we'll talk about that. But what we aim to do in our platform is mitigate the critical risk that occurs at the time of care for patients, thereby improving the outcomes to get the decision-making finally on a pace that gets better all the way through. It's not just a one-stop shop for hoping you get better today, but keeping you better and growing on the process. Therefore, minimizing the time and effort. If you're going to continue to press time on the patient, we must optimize the time that providers have to make better decisions with that time they have, and that's what we do. The whole person health view is what we're calling this. So we have a 3 impact point. This is really critical path. 3 impact points that no one in the industry has been able to figure out yet. And that is the combination of behavioral science, what's going on with the behavioral concepts of health, of moods, feelings, and emotions on a patient, what's going on with the social layer of that patient, how are they behaving in their life, what's driving them, why are they doing certain things, because they have life activities that are big deals. And then how does that affect their compliance as a patient, their adherence to medications, and how good are they and how motivated are they to even take care of their health? These are the things that are critically important. And why these three? These 3 make up 90% of every single patient, and how they can be looked at as a patient and what can be modified about their behavior to improve their health. That's why these 3 are the critical, and that's why we use these 3, and our data access points are to these 3. Here's how it works. MPC 90 is our platform. That's about maximum patient context. 90 is about 90%. Those 3 items we just talked about, those 3 determinants of health, make up 90% of every single patient. Therefore, you have a patient. Patient data request comes in about that patient, their name, their rank, their serial number, the key things we need to know. We run their information through our platform at that moment in time. We have a proprietary IP piece that is MPC Mind. That is our ability to capture their behavioral issues in 90 seconds. And then at the same time, we pull their social data and their prescription data, and we immediately send it back to the provider in a highly organized, impactful way for them to tell their patient and communicate with them what's going on for that next piece. And all that happens in real time. So the whole cycle of this from in to out is a matter of seconds on every patient visit. Here's what the sample UI framework could look like. So on the side here, excuse me, on the bottom there, you see the MPC life. That's the motivations of social determinants and what are they doing with those. So we can look at medication adherence prediction, for example, and give you a very clear idea of what you should think about before you prescribe, if that patient can even stay on their drug because they're not doing well with their current medications. And then if they're even motivated to stay into their health because they have other life circumstances. If you clicked any one of those buckets, you would go to the determinants behind that, which would show you the details. So it's all about how deep you want to go. This is just the sample top-end framework. If you look on the other side, here's the mind. What is going on with this patient? Their stress, their irritability, their anxiety, their loneliness. These are the things that are not being uniformly digitally captured today in the system of behavioral health. Every patient that comes in the door has something going on in their mind as well. Now providers can know that in 90 seconds. We score it. It's a digital, scientifically proven platform that we can serve up just like this to a provider. And then also the clinical insights. What's going on with the drugs, the medications? We can tell you not just the drug, but why they're important today. Are they taking them? Are they taking too many drugs of the same kind? Are they not getting drugs filled where they should be getting them filled? Are they good patients on medications? That's the things that providers need to know, that big data is not providing. This is all from the patient level. This is small data used in real time. And that's a huge difference, of which we'll talk about the collection. But here's how we pull it together. Each layer has 8 determinants of health. Therefore, we have 8 determinants of health times 3. That's 24 determinants that we now can analyze. We can actually look at the relationship between each of these determinants and know what's the relationship now and why the patient is behaving the way they are. This relationship has never been done before in real time, enabling a provider to do it and act on it right now. Now they can go, what in the heck is going on with my patient for early detection, for chronic care management? These are the principles of value-based care. So we're driving value-based care, and you talk about an AI framework. Well, this is waiting for it. This is our next piece, is to take these insights, these deep insights, and create the AI framework that now accelerates the passage of learning and immediate decision-making that providers need to have in the point of care. There's a lot of, here's about our market. So we're the digital health platforms that you talked about earlier have to do here, that we look at the digital health platform marketplace. We carve it up into 3 big segments that are really where we go. Digital platforms at large, which are about patient engagement, which are about enhancing the patient experience, looking at infrastructure platforms, SaaS platforms, and provider enablement platforms for better throughput of information. The idea here is that we see about a $5 billion marketplace, and these are the progressive type platforms today that are well seated into the health delivery space. Here's how it looks to us. We align with these digital health platforms with use cases that we know very well. We look at channel partners who also sell into markets with these use cases. They're selling to hospitals and health systems. They're already there. They have hundreds of them to their disposal. What they don't have is what we have in their platform. That is the ability to get that real-time data on those 3 determinants of health to their providers in real time. We would make their platforms a lot better, especially when they need it during the time of this healthcare crisis, meaning there's more patients than they can get and there's not enough time to see them. We help add value to that compression. These are channel partners that we're talking to today, some of which we already have. Here's our pipeline. We're just really getting started, but this contract, some in contract, some we're currently courting, some that are live. This current pipeline that you're looking at has about a $5 million pipeline value as it sits now, and we are driving a lot more at the top end of our pipeline today. So our revenue to growth, we're getting some very good traction. Q1, Q2, Q3 were where they were, but then we added a new channel partner, and that popped up our Q3 numbers substantially. So we now have a high growth platform there. There are customers behind them are Johnson & Johnson and Walgreens, which are loving the use of our data for medication adherence. And our year-to-date total revenue, 6 months into our fiscal year, is about 500,000. So we're on a solid run rate to get to about 1.2 million by the end of our close this year, which is our forecast. From a transaction standpoint, it stays pretty similar, but to date, we have 1.6 million transactions, 1.6 million patient reports with the data that we just talked about, making the difference on patients right now. This year, 1.6 million patients have had our data be impactful into their next decision for their care. So our business model is quite simple. We charge a $4 per insights report on a per patient basis. That gets us to a $54 million revenue target in a few years. 12 channel partners, 12 clients each, 6,000 transactions a month. That gets us to that number. It's that simple a mathematical formula to drive that kind of revenue on a per month, per member per month, on a per member per year basis. That's how we aggregate it. Our P&L, we can look at later when you want an eye chart, but you can see that matches to the numbers that we just spoke to. But you can also see that our gross margins are pretty healthy, and this business can afford that kind of margin by the way we efficiently and scale this business model. Our KPIs to date are pretty strong. We know how to sell into the market space. We have experience. Our average time cycle for a client is about 120 days based on our, again, we're not selling to the end user, we're selling to the platforms who already know how to do this business. We're working with a highly qualified lead base. Our revenue traction, as what you just saw, is getting quite strong now. We're averaging now about 100 to 125,000 revenue per month. We think our estimated lifetime value of our customer sits around $5 million per customer. Strong growth levers. We think that there's one of the great things here is the stickiness of our platform. Our initial customer is still with us, been with us for 4 years, and they're adding new customers and they want a new contract to go further. So there's a lot of strength in our model inherently. So our current funding round, we happen to be on a bridge right now, but Series A we would talk about sooner than later, should it be the right thing. But what we really need is investment capital to grow our AI completion strategy that's at the tip of MPC 90. We're ready for that. We have our data sources secure. We have customers using it. All we need now is the magic sauce on the tip of our spear at a highly commercializable level. To date, we can commercialize as we are. I know how to do that. We can continue to churn good revenue and good margins. That's what I have today. Any questions?
I'll kick off and then we'll see what the others have to ask. How do you source your primary data set?
So good question. So one of our, probably the most important one, Hall, is the behavioral layer. Behavioral layer today is one of the least understood from a digital level. Patients being able to consume a patient, how they think and feel at a digital level and use that information in real time. We've created a product model to answer that question. It's a digital survey and it can be completed in 90 seconds, where the industry average is about 45 minutes for handwritten surveys and checkout forms. We can get the same clinical quality in 90 seconds. Therefore, that information is a proprietary. It's inclusive on the MPC 90 platform. Our other data sets are prescription data, which we source from SureScripts. I know something about SureScripts, had something to do with their coming to Earth. Therefore, that is the best in class for data on the prescription. And we use LexisNexis for our social data, which is the best in class on the social. The key thing about these sources is that we can get the data either at a per patient level or at a population level. So we can aggregate at a value-based care model or an individual care level.
Well, my other question was, how many other sources of data are you bringing into your core source to create the final product?
Great question. So we are also looking at two other determinants of health. One is sleep and the other is nutrition. Those are going to be very important to the holistic care of patients going forward. If they're not healthy because of their diet, you would want to know as well. If they're not healthy because they're not sleeping well and their sleep deprivation because of other things that they're doing in their life, you would want to know. That affects their quality of life. It affects how they think about their health. Therefore, those are two very important determinants that we're looking at next.
Clearly, you're helping the doctors make better decisions, but have you been able to quantify the benefit at the physician level or the patient level in some way?
Sure. So one of our early stage customers looked at our data. They had a population of patients, 5,000, that were diabetic patients that were causing them tremendous expense because they were not well managed into their network. And they couldn't get understanding why they weren't getting better results with these diabetic patients with their very good program for diabetic treatments. Well, when they applied our data to their data, they found that we could identify 30% of their patients that were not even in the networks of care. They were not in the networks of care, thereby they were seeing other providers that the current network they were supposed to go to, they had no idea where they were going, but they would come back in for care treatments, things that went wrong. And they had to pay for that stuff. Therefore, they were flipped on their ear with the negative returns. When they saw how that was happening, they readjusted their care management model. Now they know which patients they need to see about their particular medications before things go wrong. They've done that now for 6 months, and they've seen a 20% improvement in their overall imposition of cost on those patients.
Great. My last question is, what's the use of funds when you raise the funding? What exactly are we going to be using it for?
Sure, great point. So there's two parts of our model right now. We're in so we're kind of an emerging stage. We are highly commercialized in our 3 core products. We are ready to go to market on our 3 core products. But one of the key things we want to accelerate is our AI capacity to optimize the NPC 90 platform of learnings between the 3 determinants of health. That's a big one. Put that at the top of the spear. Behind that is business processes with internals, when we have to add some key staffing to organize and sort of get to market, and the key with key staff in C-level positions that we have to optimize.
Great. We have a question from Vadim, which is, discuss the revenue model in more detail. Is it SaaS used per month, or is it $4 per report, or is it both? How do those connect?
Yeah, it is both. So what we do is charge a $4 per report per patient. And what typically they do is they subscribe to our service for a year, 2 years, 3 years. We love the multi-year contract. And so they then use that service as needed for all the patients that they see during that time period. And then we collect that revenue for each report they request, layer it on top of the next platform we bring on. They do the same thing. And so we're building layer over layer over layer of customers and ongoing generated revenue.
Great. I think we're near the end of our time. I want to thank you for giving the presentation, Todd and Cadell. Appreciate you joining, and thanks, Vadim, for the question. With that, we'll go ahead and move to our next company, which is Deep Cognition. Mandeep Kumar will give a presentation on that, and we'll be back here in a moment. Hey, Mandeep, thanks for joining us. And let's go ahead and load your slides and see how that looks.
Hi, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Mandeep Kumar, CEO and co-founder of Deep Cognition. So at Deep Cognition, we are solving a problem of data entry in business processes. Many of you might have thought that this problem is already solved by looking at some of the solutions in the market. But truth of the matter is, for complex documents, which is actually very common in a lot of business processes, this problem is not solved yet, and our platform solves it. And the key component here is how accurately can we extract the information and able to kind of accelerate that manual work of data entry. It's a very large and growing market. By 2025, it will be $10 billion TAM. So we are playing in a pretty big market with many different segments. Our current focus is on logistics, and I'll show you our progress in logistics in a minute. Here is just a question like why this technology is kind of emerging now. It's because of advancement in the AI technology, specifically deep learning, and and also the lot of logistics and supply chain companies are under pressure to do cost cutting. So they are looking more and more towards automating certain business processes where a lot of manual work is needed, and data entry is one of the leading manual work when it comes to filing customs entries and also, for example, automating information from arrival notices into the transport management systems. How our system is actually different from other systems in the market is we achieve very high accuracy with very less number of samples documents. We have a proprietary system that just takes a couple of samples of a particular format of the document and create a synthetic data within the learning system that basically gives it an edge to be able to have very small number of document and achieve very high accuracy. We also merge NLP with the computer vision, because when you look at a document, you have to look at both it as a image and also as a English language text. So to be able to merge those two kind of separate information in a seamless way is important to kind of achieve that accuracy. So, so our customer, for example, Semino Delvin is the largest freight forwarder out of Italy. They used to take for a 90-page commercial invoice to enter that into system 40 hours. With our system, it has been reduced to 2 minutes of the validation, manual validation work. So they are achieving very high amount of savings with our system deployed in there. This is competitive landscape. As you can see, there are systems built by Google and Amazon, which are meant for very simple documents, typically typically not retrainable. So if it makes a mistake, it's always going to make that mistake. And then if you look at on the right side, there are more specialized systems. And where we differentiate from competitors, we can handle very complex tables and very complex structures of the document. In addition, we are also making our system self-service. What I mean by that is, we not only provide the inference platform to the our customers, but we also provide them AI labeling software, so they can be, their IT team or their operation team can become self-sufficient. When AI makes a mistake in certain documents, they can write themselves label that document, so it won't make similar mistakes next time such documents comes in. We started fourth quarter 2021. We started working with small freight forwarders, and we learned from that experience. We fine-tuned the solution. Now our strategy is to only focus on top 50 freight forwarders. So we have got good success with 7 and recently. We also closed on largest freight forwarder in Brazil, Asia Shipping, and another large freight forwarder out of South Africa, Midwest. Our pipeline has many of the top 20 freight forwarders: Jeffco, Siva Logistics, Hellman, CH Robinson. We have meetings set up with UPS Logistics and FedEx Logistics as well. So hopefully they'll also come into the POC. And a lot of these large freight forwarders are coming to us because they have tried other solutions and they have failed. And they see our marketing efforts that we put in, the kind of documents we can handle, and that is leading them to kind of, a lot of these are inbound leads that we kind of convert into eventually POCs. Our business model is pretty simple. We charge 60 cents per page. It's kind of negotiable a little bit based on the volume, but typically minimum $120,000 a year. And we charge small amount of setup fee to set up the servers, and then annual support of $30K. And it's all driven by the number of shipments these freight forwarders are handling. So, and a lot of time, number of shipments they handle is publicly available information. And so when a new freight forwarder comes to us, we kind of know by looking at, let's say they have 10,000 shipments a month, and then each shipment typically have 10 to 15 pages of data entry. So we can just calculate the amount of pages they will process. So right now our focus is freight forwarding with customs entry use case. We also have accounts payable use case deployed at Asia Shipping. So we want to continue our journey in freight forwarder segment, kind of doing more use cases over there. It was kind of easy to repeat. It's land and expand kind of strategy. So once we kind of achieve certain success there, we intend to move forward with other adjacent segments like warehousing, and down the line there are other use cases in banking, government, and healthcare that we plan to target with the same technology. This is the product roadmap. In 2022, we already have AI labeling and AI training. We are working on kind of making it as user-friendly as possible, so that a non-technical person can actually create examples for AI to learn from. We have also added productivity reports for data validation. We are also working on the fly learning, which is basically a CV document, and it's a 90-page document, for example, and AI is not working well, so you can just label first page or kind of identify information from the first page, and immediately the AI can actually start doing, process rest of the pages. So it's pretty much real-time learning. 2023, we want to add more document types. We want to release SDKs for connectivity with different transport management system and ERP system, and also connectivity to EDI, which is electronic format for invoicing. And moving forward, 2024, we would like to utilize this technology for analyzing the static information that is sitting in a lot of enterprises as documents, and kind of create reports for those that can support better decision making. This is our team. Shiv, who is on the call, is the Chief Revenue Officer. We have Tracy, Jennifer, our Sales Director. I'm based out of Dallas, so does Tracy and Jennifer, and rest of the team is based out of India. So majority of our engineering team is in India, while we focus in US sales and marketing functions. We are currently raising $500,000 bridge round. We are offering it as a convertible note with $8 million cap and 20% discount. Most of the money that we want to raise in this round will go into hiring an experienced enterprise salesperson, and also doing more trade shows, and also hiring some engineering resources to support the large customers that we are engaging with right now. That's all I have. Any questions?
Great. If there's any questions from the audience, go ahead and put it in the chat box. My question has to do with the actual sales expansion itself. Are you, of course, landing and expanding, but are you also trying to get new accounts, and where are you trying to find those?
The new accounts, yeah. So we are putting a lot of our efforts in marketing. So we try to get because we see that a lot of these freight forwarders are actually actively looking for some solutions like that. So able to kind of have our word out there and reach them seems to be the most cost effective step for us to acquire more customer at this point.
Great. And then we have a question from Vadim. What is your current ARR number right now?
So we are 280,000 ARR right now. Mainly it is from Savino Delban, which is one of the largest, and some other. The Bidwest, we have not started the revenue yet. They just signed the deal. Asia Shipping also, we have not started the revenue. But if we add their revenue estimates, then we are closer to 600K ARR.
When do you expect them to start?
I think it will start. I think next month it will start, and it will ramp up to its full capacity in 3 months. Typically, when they start, they don't process all their documents. They slowly ramp up. It usually takes 3 months, 3 to 4 months to kind of reach to their full potential. So I'm expecting by January or February, it should be around 600K ARR.
And so you're raising $500,000. How long will that last with your current burn rate? And then what do you think your ARR will be at the end of that window?
We have about like $5,000 burn rate right now, because we have revenue coming already, and we are pretty lean. So the extra money would kind of get us this extra boost, sign up more customers, and our aim is by middle of next year go for Series A funding, hopefully achieving around 1 million ARR at that point.
Okay, so between the funding and your revenue, you have $1 million, and that's going to last for about a year. And then at that point, you're looking for the next round to take you on.
Right.
Okay, cool. Well, good. No, that's good numbers, good questions there. I see you doing quite a bit with data in the coming years. Are you planning to monetize that separately, or just power your own systems for higher value products?
So yeah, I think in the long run, we are storing this data for customers, but we can also create analytics reports and monetize, provide these extra features where they can look at their suppliers, how over time they are sending invoices, and yeah, we probably want to add some more value-added services and platform beyond just automation of the labor force in data entry.
Right, that makes sense. Any other questions from our audience today? If not, we'll go ahead and perhaps wrap up a little bit sooner, but just give people a moment more to see if they have any thoughts here. We can connect people afterwards if there's interest to have follow-on discussions, and we'll do that with that here pretty soon. Any closing words from your side, Mandeep, about next steps?
No.
Okay. Vadim, any final questions from your side?
Not really, no. It's very interesting, both of them. $1 million in ARR seems to be the cutoff, the cutoff for the minimum cutoff number for Series A. So this is a good number to strive to. So yeah, very both. I'm talking about both presenters today. Very, very interesting. Interesting companies that you build there, and yeah, it sounds like you need some. You need to spend some time and efforts now on commercializing, just selling more. And this is good. This is good. Good investment.
Great.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Vadim, and thanks, Mandeep, for the presentation. And thank the audience for showing up today. Appreciate your joining us with this. If there are no more questions, I'll give people just a moment more. We'll go ahead and wrap up today's session. I want to thank Vadim for his presentation on AI and as a hot topic. I've learned a great deal about it. And I want to thank Mandeep and Todd for their presentations as well. So with that, we'll be back next month with another Investor Hot Topics, and looking forward to seeing you guys then. And we'll go ahead and close it for now. Y'all have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.